I have been using Claude for a while now, and it has been the best setup in terms of LLM that I could have asked for. It has a lot of options. I've covered most of them in some previous videos. It has the ability to add projects and a lot of interesting things. What I was missing with Claude is the ability to interact more in multimodal and generate images. So I thought of switching to OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And then I found that they have introduced a new feature called Canvas, which is what this video is about. So Canvas is a new way of working with ChatGPT to write code and also use it as a writing assistant. Now this is kind of similar to Claude interface where Claude was giving me slides and code on the right hand side in a playground mode. So yeah, it sounds like a new user experience as well. So what they have shown is that they have supported better collaboration with ChatGPT. You can code in Canvas. They have kind of given the model a couple of capabilities that triggers the Canvas for writing articles and coding. Can also do a variety of coding related tasks, which I will show you shortly. So without spending a lot of time, let's dive in. And then there are again some benchmarks which just somehow never get into. Now the benchmarks are almost very difficult to do. So this only works, by the way, if you have a premium version. So when you go here, you will have multiple different models or multiple different options. So GPT-4o is the standard. Then you get GPT-4o with Canvas. O1 preview is the new model. That's the next video. So stay tuned. O1 Mini is kind of a smaller model which offers faster reasoning. There are more models available which are 4O Mini and Legacy. Now, the reason I paid for ChatGPT this month and I'm only taking monthly subscription is because I wanted to experiment with O1. And O1 is really, really good. I'll give you a hint. And let's go to 4O with Canvas. So by default, nothing changes, but it gives you some abilities like create image, get advice, etc. etc. So I'm going to start for code or maybe start for writing an article. So I will say, help me write an article about OpenAI new model O1. All right, and let's see what it does. So the way it opens up is kind of a magnified window, and it has generated the article. Obviously, it's an LLM. It's gonna throw me a bunch of options and all that. But the difference in user experience is this. If you see here, there's a bunch of smart options that have come up. It says suggest edits, adjust the length, reading level, add final polish, and add emojis. So I'm gonna just click add emojis and do this. I just keep making it really really emojifying it, which is crazy. So this is like the extent of emojis that it has captured is just too much. It's insane. I have no idea how and why it has done with as many emojis as possible. But again, that's one. So you can add a polish, you can change the reading level. So this is the current reading level. I can probably adjust to a graduate school, a college, high school, and slowly middle school, kindergarten. So basically the idea is if you want to explain a concept, adjust it for someone with a more better understanding of technology, it will do that. The user experience is quite neat as you select the level, it just changes beautifully into an up pointing arrow and makes those changes. And now it has written the article to making it more sophisticated vocabulary and the explanation depth has increased, etc. etc. For example, if you see the future outlook section is very, very different. I'm gonna just change it again and make it like kindergarten and let's see what it does. So it's gonna now just only change that part and then it's going to make it sound like a kindergarten. It does not change the entire article. So you have the option to select and all. And then the rest of the thing is you can change the length and all. So this is a great writing assistant in my view. And you can obviously copy it. You can show the changes. You can, it kind of shows you all of these differences, which is really, really neat. Shows you what has changed over a period of time and all of that. You have a lot of undo options as well, like go to previous version, previous version, previous version. You can restore the version. So good version management in terms of writing, which makes it a great writing and coding assistant. I'm going to close this out and then hop over to a code. So I will say generate a sample code that uses OpenAI SDK. and makes a call to O1 model over API and answers a question in Python. So this is a very simple program that I'm trying to generate. Now see that it has just given me some sort of an OpenAI endpoint, has given some sort of functionalities feature. You have your API gates. It's a relatively simple code. The good part is it has all of the right indentations that you would expect for a code editor. You can even highlight certain sections and ask ChatGPT, for example, I can highlight here and ask it to, kind of make the edit or function. So basically inline editing and inline code recommendation. You still don't have the functionality to actually run it, but you have more functionalities than running, which I'll show quickly. So you can obviously add comments. The moment you say add comments, it's gonna just add more comments. There's already enough number of comments, but this just adds crazy number of comments, like too much comments. If you are building tutorial, and I am working on a tutorial on my other channel, so shameless plug. I also have a channel about trading and investments where I try to use technology and see how the term words mingle. And yeah, very very exciting to use these things there. So if you have a piece of code and you want to make it really really lucid, this is just nuts. This is great. You can add logs, and then it's gonna add a little bit more functionality for log, like debug scenarios, request response, etc., etc. Like just not request response, like debug responses. My bad. Fix bugs. There are no bugs right now. You can also port to a language, which is very very great. So I've not seen this kind of a functionality in Claude, but I can literally change this to C++, which I'll do towards the end. And then you can also do a code review. And what it does is it basically does the whole, code reviews and added certain comments and highlights and all of that. Everything, etc., etc. If the API call fails, consider adding a retry mechanism addition. So there is like a code review that it does on the code it generated, on the code that it added comment. It's just crazy. The argument can be pehli baar mein kyun nahi theek kiya, but again, that's how it is. You can obviously copy the code. You can see the differences like the previous writing assistant mode we had. And finally, I'm going to ask it to port to a different language. So let's do C++, which is probably the only language that I'm even remotely familiar with. So yeah, this is just completely written it. And I don't know the quality of the code, hard for me to comment, but it has literally generated or rewritten the entire Python code. So if you are working on a migration project, and somehow you can integrate these functionalities over API, it would be just bonkers. So crazy amount of functionalities present here to use. And then you can always select something and ask it to change, like give me a better debug question. Sure. So and it's gonna make that change at that point. Just gonna go line by line and scan. I hope it makes some changes there. Let's see if it goes there, and it's basically going line by line. Yeah. Okay, it has updated. Yeah, it changed here to initializing AI query process with the question. As we clocked at, you have lot of different versions available. But the versioning, I don't think it goes back to Python. I think it stays with C++, which is kind of okay. So yeah, that's it. I am waiting for a time when these guys can actually run it. Some of the challenges that you get when you work with LLM generated code is that sometimes it gets stuck in a loop of not solving the error or not seeing it through. Like, for instance, I generated a code where it was using a variable, a scenario later in a loop. And what it has done is it was a column within a data frame. And what it has done is that it had deleted that column before, but it has deleted it in place is equals to true, which is like removes the actual column physically. And then it was trying to keep the reference, and I was trying to constantly tell it to fix it, even literally saying that you have done this, but it was just stuck at it. So you do get certain scenarios like that where you are just hopeful that if you can actually run the code here itself, then it will be good. But I totally understand the reasons as to why they cannot give a code running environment here. It will be just too much. Maybe integrating these functionalities neatly into a coding assistant or VS Code thing like an IDE would be good. But yeah, this is great. I mean, nobody would have imagined this 2 years before. This is already hurting a lot of people in terms of what's my job is going to be, but at the same time it's also, supporting or making people more efficient. I don't want to give an opinion on that right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's with the OpenAI 4.0 with Canvas. Stay tuned to the next video. I'm going to talk about the O1 preview model and how it works, what it does, etc. And right now, the only supported model is GPT 4.0, and that's also in beta for the Canvas feature. All right. So this is Akash signing off. Until next video. Bye bye.